If you know anything about me, it's probably that I have an unhealthy obsession with Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm pretty sure I gained consciousness around 4 years old, and the first thing I saw was Sonic on the TV at my cousin's house. More specifically, Sonic Adventure 2. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Sonic Adventure 2 is my favorite game of all time. Yeah, I might be... Okay, I'm definitely biased since I grew up with it, but this game holds a place in my heart that no other game has topped, and I seriously doubt that's gonna change. If you're a Sonic fan, chances are you think the adventure games are some of the best games in the series, and if you're not a Sonic fan, they're a mixed bag at best. Which is totally understandable, for reasons I'll get into in this video. By the way, I'll be looking at the Steam release of the GameCube version of the game, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and not the original release on the Dreamcast. I own both because I'm a psychopath. But anyway, boot up the game, and trust me, you're going to want to let the intro sequence play. This intro sets the tone for the entire game. That tone being cool as fuck. You can start the story from either the hero or dark side, but I recommend starting from the hero side since things just flow better that way in my opinion. But I'll also try to summarize the story as a whole so this video isn't 2 hours long. The story starts off with a gun helicopter flying over Capital City with Sonic inside as prisoner. Sonic takes out everyone aboard and skydives into the city using a piece of the chopper as a snowboard. Alright, listen, if you aren't sold on this game already, I don't know what to tell you. City Escape is the first level, and in my eyes, it's one of, if not the best first levels in a video game, period. Sonic shreds through the streets of what is clearly San Francisco, destroying property, looking badass, all while the catchy theme of the stage plays in the background. The level design is top notch, and you get glimpses of shortcuts that you can't use just yet, which helps a lot with replayability. Pretty much all of Sonic and Shadow stages are like this. Fast, action-packed platforming that's insanely fun to replay over and over again. Sonic is almost in the clear after he beats a gun mech that was sent for him, but that's when he shows up. Shadow the Hedgehog. He's seen stealing a Chaos Emerald, and Sonic pieces together that Gun has been mistaking him for Shadow.
Shadow, I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell!
The audio mixing in this game is pretty terrible, but I think it just adds to the charm at this point. It's also really fucking funny when characters talk over each other all the time.
You're comparing yourself to me? Ha! You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those words!
Shadow escapes and leaves Sonic to be arrested by Gun again, this time being hauled off to Prison Island. Probably should have mentioned this sooner, but earlier in the story, Eggman raided a gun base searching for a secret military project made by his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik. That project turns out to be Shadow. Shadow promises world domination by using a weapon called the Eclipse Cannon if they can gather the Chaos Emeralds and take them to the space colony Ark, a research facility built by Gerald that has been shut down for 50 years and was where Shadow was created. Shadow is motivated purely by revenge for his close friend Maria, who was killed on the Ark. Still with me? Alright, good, keep up. While Sonic was being arrested, Knuckles was busy bickering over the Master Emerald with Rouge the Bat, a girl who loves jewels and is also a secret agent for Gun. Eggman snatches the emerald, but Knuckles chooses to break it into pieces so it can't be stolen. The Master Emerald can be restored if all the pieces can be brought together again, leading to the next piece of gameplay, treasure hunting. This is a very polarizing part of the game. Some people like it, some people fucking hate it. I personally don't mind them. You have to use a radar and search a stage for Master Emerald shards, or sometimes keys. It's nowhere near as good as the Sonic and Shadow levels, but they're still fun in their own right, especially once you learn the layout of the stages. The radar can suck sometimes, and the later stages get way more difficult and gimmicky. Looking at you, Mad Space. But otherwise, I like them. Knuckles and Rouge both go off and search for pieces of the Master Emerald, but remember Rouge is also a gun agent, so she tails Eggman and finds keys to his hidden base in a pyramid. She finds a teleporter inside, which leads to the space colony Ark, where she convinces Eggman and Shadow to let her help them collect the emeralds. Rouge wants the emeralds for herself because she clearly has issues, but she also has to keep tabs on Eggman and look for information about Project Shadow. Amy and Tails hear that Sonic was taken to Prison Island, and not believing that Sonic has all of a sudden become a massive criminal, they head over there to break him out. Meanwhile, Shadow, Rouge, and Eggman are planning to steal the Chaos Emeralds that are stored on Prison Island, and then blow it up afterward. Honestly, I don't know why they had to blow up Prison Island. Like, sure, it's also a big military base, so maybe it's just to weaken them overall? But like, Bro, you could've just grabbed the emeralds and left. Why nuke the whole island? It does make for a sweet action sequence, though. Anyway, Tails breaks in with his mech called the Cyclone, which brings us to the third and final gameplay style, the shooting stages. You play as Tails and Eggman in these stages, with both of them piloting a walking mech. The goal is just to reach the end of the stage like Sonic and Shadow, except you do it much, much slower. The mechs are pretty clunky to control as well, which makes the platforming in these stages worse than they have to be. Still, my bias is gonna come through here, I get that, but I really don't hate these stages either. Once you play them as much as I have, they become a little easier to swallow. But don't get me wrong, these are the worst parts of the game as a whole. I don't think they're absolutely horrible or anything, but I'm never in a rush to replay these stages either. Anyway, Tails and Amy manage to break Sonic out of his cell, and Sonic encounters Shadow while escaping the island. Their fight is interrupted by Eggman telling Shadow to hurry off the island because it's about to blow up.
Blows up?
Sonic and Shadow both start to haul ass to get off the island, and during all this, Rouge manages to find the 3 Chaos Emeralds in the base, but she gets locked inside. Shadow doesn't really seem to give a shit until he gets a flashback of Maria. He then decides to save Rouge along with the 3 Chaos Emeralds she collected. He claims he just came back for the emeralds, but clearly the memory of Maria is getting to him. With 6 total emeralds collected at this point, Eggman decides it's time to show off the power of the Eclipse Cannon by firing it at the moon, destroying half of it. Holy shit! Tails intercepts a transmission from Eggman to the President, which he and Sonic use to track down where he is. They do this by first jumping into the President's moving limo and leaving him with no more than a, "Don't worry bro, we got this." Eggman plans to fire the cannon again in 24 hours at the United Federation unless they surrender. With the help of Knuckles, who showed up earlier by coincidence, the gang finds Eggman's hidden base along with a space shuttle that just happened to be lying around. Why does he have a spaceship when the base also has a teleporter? Because you need to have options, people. After defeating the Egg Golem and a ghost named King Boom Boo, who for real gave me nightmares when I was little, Sonic and friends fly out to space. Their shuttle hits an asteroid on the way, which causes the emerald shards that Knuckles had to get scattered all around the Ark. Knuckles gets pissed and almost crash lands the ship on the Ark, leaving Sonic, Tails, and Amy to stop Eggman. Tails hatches up a plan to use a fake Chaos Emerald he created to destroy the Eclipse Cannon. Basically, the fake emerald would cause the energy of the Eclipse Cannon to flow in reverse, making it blow up. Before Sonic can place the fake emerald into the control panel, Amy gets fucking kidnapped and held hostage by Eggman. That asshole. During all of this, Knuckles and Rouge are outside fighting over the last shards of the Master Emerald. Rouge slips and falls? And Knuckles saves her? You do know she can fly, right? Rouge reluctantly gives up the Master Emerald shards after getting a little flirty with Knuckles. He finally restores the Master Emerald completely and apologizes to Rouge for their fight. At this point, Sonic reaches Eggman. He tells Sonic to put the Chaos Emerald down and then he'd release Amy. Since the emerald is a fake, Sonic and Tails figure giving it up would work in their favor anyway. What could go wrong? Whoa! Fuck. Turns out Eggman knew about the fake emerald because earlier he saw an energy reading from 2 separate Chaos Emeralds on the Ark. Eggman has this escape pod rigged to explode and send Sonic into space with the fake emerald.
Huh?
Somehow, Sonic manages to pull off Chaos Control with the fake Chaos Emerald and lands near Knuckles. Now you might be thinking, how in the hell did Sonic do this? Well, you just gotta remember that Tails made it to be almost identical to the real one. It's less powerful overall, but I can buy that Sonic can pull off a one-and-done Chaos Control with it. With no time to waste before the cannon fires, Sonic asks Knuckles to help Tails and Amy while he runs to shove the fake emerald into the barrel of the Eclipse Cannon. Meanwhile, Shadow catches Rouge trying to steal the Chaos Emeralds from the control room and figures out she's been a spy the whole time. Rouge decides now would be a good time to confront him about Project Shadow. She claims that Shadow might not be the real Ultimate Life Form, and that even his memories could be fake. Shadow mostly doesn't give a shit because the only thing he cares about is keeping his promise to Maria. He threatens Rouge and then leaves after hearing that someone is still trying to stop the Eclipse Cannon. Sonic and Shadow cross paths one more time where they share a super cool cutscene that leads into their final fight.
Before this is over, I'll show you the true power of Chaos Control!
Ooh, that's that good shit. The boss fight, as cool as it is pretty easy, like most of the bosses in the game, I should add. Speaking of bosses, while Sonic was fighting Shadow, Tails was fighting Eggman. Eggman then proceeds to get his ass handed to him by an 8-year-old. Sonic manages to reach the Eclipse Cannon and stops it from firing while he shows off outside the Ark to let Tails and Amy know he's still alive. While Tails and Amy are distracted, Eggman swipes the real Chaos Emerald that Tails just left lying on the ground and takes it to the control room. Eggman puts the final Chaos Emerald into the console, thinking he's won, but then an alarm starts blaring and a video of Gerald Robotnik appears. This is where shit starts to go crazy. The last story. Sonic and the rest feel rumbling on the Ark, and Rouge comes in to break the news that the Ark is falling towards Earth at terminal velocity. Gerald's video pops up on the terminal behind them where he starts to detail his revenge plan. This is where the past of the Ark and Project Shadow get revealed. At least a little. Wink wink. Gerald says that he programmed the Ark to throttle itself toward Earth once all 7 Chaos Emeralds were used to activate the Eclipse Cannon. Once the Ark collides with the Earth, the planet would be destroyed. Eggman comes in and reveals Gerald's diary, which goes into even more detail about Project Shadow. Listen, there is a lot to cover on Project Shadow, some of which is barely mentioned in this game, so I'm going to try to give you a decent rundown. The government and Gunn wanted Gerald to make weapons of mass destruction on the Ark with their funding under the guise of researching immortality. Gerald refused at first, but then realized he could take the opportunity to find a cure for his sick granddaughter, Maria. Throughout the course of the project, Gunn was getting impatient and rumors of the project being a danger to Earth were starting to spread. So, Gunn decides to cut their losses and launches a raid on the Ark with the goal to kill everyone and cover up Project Shadow. Yep, still talking about a Sonic game. Keep up. During the raid, Shadow and Maria made a run for it to the escape pods while being chased by a few gun soldiers, one of which shot Maria. With the last of her strength, Maria manages to send Shadow to Earth in an escape pod. Gunn quickly found this pod and had Shadow put into stasis on Prison Island. Gerald was also captured and taken to Prison Island where his threat was filmed. After learning of Maria's death, he went insane and hatched his plan. Which kinda makes no sense considering he should have no way of programming anything while in Gunn custody. There is some wiggle room with when exactly Gerald was captured by Gunn, and he very well could have had a remote way of doing something like this, but he's seen in literal chains while he's on Prison Island, so how the fuck? Anyway, with only 27 minutes until impact, everyone bands together to stop the Ark from destroying the planet by using the Master Emerald to stop the Chaos Emeralds. This is the start of a super level called Cannon's Core. You play as everyone besides Shadow here, each with their own stage to complete. As usual, Sonic's portion is the best, while the other parts are alright. The problem with Cannon's Core is that you can't just replay the parts you want, you have to play as everyone, every time. Sucks, but we deal. During all of this, Shadow is just chilling in the Ark, thinking that his mission is complete. Amy, with nothing better to do, tries to get him to help. Amy says the magic words and triggers Shadow's memory of Maria, where she asks him to help the people of Earth to be happy, not for revenge. With his memory finally cleared up, he sheds a tear and rushes to help the others. By the way, if you're wondering how he could have mixed up Maria's wish of happiness on Earth for revenge, it's alluded to earlier that Gerald might have had a hand with that. Sonic and Knuckles reach the core where they're ambushed by the Bio-Lizard, the prototype of the ultimate life form. That's right, the prototype of Shadow is this huge, tragic bastard. I love him. Shadow pulls up and offers to hold it off while Sonic and Knuckles do what they gotta do with the Master Emerald. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of the best boss fights in the series. Again, I wouldn't say it's super difficult or anything, but the music and the vibes are nuts. The real ultimate life form versus the unfinished prototype. Shadow manages to destroy the Bio-Lizard's life support system, but it doesn't stay down for long. Sonic and Knuckles manage to stop the Chaos Emeralds, but the Bio-Lizard uses Chaos Control and merges himself with the Ark to keep it falling towards Earth. Yeah, that doesn't look right, does it? With only one thing left to do, Sonic and Shadow silently agree that it's time. Time to go super! They gather the Chaos Emeralds and transform together, going into space to stop the final hazard. Remember what I said about the Bio-Lizard? The music and the vibes and all that? Yeah, well this one is even better. Super Sonic and Super Shadow against the clock. Live and learn, blaring in the background. I mean, oh!
Destroy all the evil the Professor has created.
Anyway, they defeat the final hazard together, and with Maria's voice echoing in Shadow's mind, they pull off a joint chaos control to warp the Ark back into orbit. So badass. Shadow, for some reason, falls to Earth after this, presumably dying. Like, why could Sonic survive but not Shadow? It was probably just because Sonic Team only wanted to have him in this one game. That is, until Sonic fans wanted him to come back. But I think a much better explanation can be found in Sonic X, where Shadow overused his power by removing his limiter rings. You should totally watch Sonic X, by the way. Sonic returns to the Ark with a sad look on his face, confirming to the others that Shadow didn't make it. He says some kind words about Shadow, and everyone reflects a bit before deciding to head back to Earth. Amy asks Sonic, "What's the matter?" as if everyone isn't grieving Shadow, who seemingly died like 2 minutes ago. And Sonic says sayonara to Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form. Until he comes back in Sonic Heroes, but just enjoy this beautiful moment, alright? Anyway, that's Sonic Adventure 2. My favorite game ever. There's a lot of things I didn't even get into with this game, namely the Chao Garden, multiplayer, and optional missions for each stage. Hell, there's even a kart racing mode in this baby. The replayability is unmatched in this game. Me and my brother spent so many hours racing each other in multiplayer and making all types of Chao in the Chao Garden. Finally getting the Chaos Chao was rewarding to say the least. If you know, you know. Please, Sega, bring back the Chao Garden, make a mobile game or something, it's easy money. At the end of the day, I understand this game isn't perfect, but it's what made me a Sonic fan in the first place. Actually, it's probably what got me into video games, period. Call it rose-colored glasses or whatever, but I think there's still so much fun to be had in this game, and I've only appreciated the story more as I've gotten older. Even if the plot holes are a little easier to spot. It's only $10 on Steam, and it's always going on sale for like a few bucks, so go play it. This isn't a suggestion. Well, that's it. Oh, by the way, I'm very excited for Shadow Generations later this year. 2000 Sonic fans like me are eating so good recently. Alright, I'm done for real. Bye.